And tonight, Parliament at war with itself amidst a constitutional standoff between the Speaker and the majority caucus, trapping the controversial anti-LGBTQ bill in limbo.
I call on Parliament to rely on the provisions of motions and the conventions of this House to go back to this historic and important bill and reconsider it in the way that is truly bipartisan.
There's really nothing to reconsider. We promise Ghanaians that we will pass a law prohibiting LGBTQ. We will pass a law prohibiting the promotion of LGBTQ.
While the Speaker has slammed the brakes on the passage of the bill into law, Majority Leader Mahama Ayariga has fired back with a big no. Tonight on Top Story, we interrogate the power play in Parliament. Top Story is brought to you by Telecel, connecting energies, holy insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. Shield Pension Trust into the future with you. My name is Kenneth. Gyasi. Welcome to the program. Parliament is tonight fighting itself over the passage of the controversial anti-LGBTQ bill, which was signed last Friday. Speaker Alban Bagbin says the bill was passed wrongly, citing breaches of the standing orders and asking MPs to reconsider a fresh third reading. But the majority caucus, led by Mahama Ayariga, says he has no power to undo their vote. The bill's fate now hangs by a thread. The Speaker's decision follows days of criticism from the minority over amendments made to the bill and concerns expressed by President Mahama. Listen to the Speaker make the point yesterday in Parliament.
The Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2025 and its implications on the LGBTQ plus issue is a global concern. Therefore, the eye of the world is upon this Parliament, the Parliament of Ghana. What we do here must be able to withstand any legal and constitutional challenges that are sure to come. The bill has from its inception been presented to the nation as a bipartisan legislative initiative. Such bipartisan cooperation represents Parliament at its finest. It demonstrates to the people of Ghana that notwithstanding political differences, members of Parliament are capable of uniting around matters which they consider to be of national importance. It is therefore my considered view that a legislation of this magnitude ought, as far as practicable, to command not merely the numerical support of a majority of members, but also the broad confidence of the House regarding both its substance, and the process by which it was adopted. What is right must be done rightly. Honorable members, I call on Parliament to rely on the provisions of motions and the conventions of this House to go back to this historic and important bill and reconsider it in the way that is truly bipartisan to conform with the convictions and confidence of our people, the initiators of the bill.
The Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, speaking in the House of Legislature just yesterday, but Majority Leader Mahama Ayariga has rejected concerns raised by Speaker Bagbin over the passage of the anti-LGBTQ bill, insisting there was nothing wrong with the process that led to its approval in Parliament last Friday. He spoke on Top Story.
There's really nothing to reconsider. We promise Ghanaians that we will pass a law prohibiting LGBTQ. We will pass a law prohibiting the promotion of LGBTQ. We will pass a law that does not allow us to recognize marriage by people of the same gender. And we will pass a law punishing people who are luring children into the practice and also punish those who are financing and sponsoring their promotion. Those are the key commitments that we made to the Ghanaian public. And if you take the bill, all those are clearly stated. They are defined as offenses, and nobody will go scot-free if caught engaged in any of these things. Now, when my friends in the NPP raised the issue when we were considering Clause 9, it was just a pretext to try and then, create there's something wrong with the bill. They did not believe that the NDC will pass such a bill. And so they are hoping that NDC doesn't pass the bill. Then as we approach elections, they will now tell Ghanaians that NDC deceived them, and even with our numbers in Parliament, we have not passed the bill when we promised Ghanaians.
Well, Mr. Ayariga, the issues are being raised about the processes, that after the third reading...
There's nothing wrong with the process. In fact, go and check. Go and check the process. If you take the votes and proceedings of Friday, you will see that what we normally do, which is a motion to abridge time, was moved, admitted by the Speaker, seconded, and voted on to abridge the time so that we could take the third reading the same day.
That's Majority Leader Mahama Ayariga there. The Christian and Muslim communities have both expressed disappointment in how events are unfolding regarding the passage of the bill. First, let's listen to the spokesperson for the Chief Imam Sheikh Appiah Shaibu and the chairman of the Advocates for Christ, Edem Senanu, on the matter.
Going to be just a pass-through that for us to quicken the pace and get it on the table of the current president, so in accordance with his promise that he will append his signature. So for us to come here where we do not know where we are facing, the minority taking a position, the majority taking a position, for me, it's disappointing, to say the least. And I hope that we will not politicize this matter, because this matter that we are dealing with is a non-political matter. From my angle, and have been consistent in my debate about this subject matter, LGBT in the form, whatever form it takes, it is an attack on the family institution, which is a sacred unit of society. That's why every human being is born into a family made up by male, female, who give birth to children and from which progenies are produced. And so any attempt to promote same-sex, in my view, is to say we are attacking the very foundation of society. And that's the way we must see how evil, how objectionable this matter is. And so as a people of culture, people of faith, people of religion, as our nation, we are unanimous on how evil this matter is. And I think so to turn it into a kind of political debate now between the majority and the distant, for me, to say the least, is very disappointing.
Now, the part that is questionable for me is how come the House of Procedures and Records could get it wrong. How would they not recognize that certain steps had not been followed or the quorum was not there? That raises alarms for me. But even beyond that, I mean, I took a look at the new version, and especially the exemptions. The exemptions is one in particular that gets me worried. So already in my mind, even if it had gone on to the president, the likelihood we're going to appeal to the president that, listen, looking at Article 106, there's at least one of those exemptions looking at the non-governmental organizations and whatnot, which is not tight. It provides a lacuna for the kind of information we don't want to be out there. And so we would still have required that this must come back to Parliament. To be very clear, let's qualify the type of information you are talking about so that when there's a case and we go to court, it could be clear whether there is intent to do something that breaches the law.
We've also been hearing from the Programs Officer for Human Rights and Social Exclusion of CDD, Dr. Michael Augustus Akagbo, who says the ongoing controversy surrounding the bill vindicates the position of the CDD that the bill violates the rights of Ghanaians.
I think that the key to understanding where we stand on the matter is
you are having a bill that is supposed to solve a moral problem that is itself stuck in the moral quagmire. That tells you a lot about the bill itself. It tells you that the bill does not have the same level of consensus that we think it has. Discounting whether the exemptions or not, our position has been clear from the beginning, grounded in the spirit of the fundamental principles of right of the Constitution, that this bill violates rights of Ghanaian citizens. And that has been our position. So that's why discounting even the exemptions made, we still think that the bill still is unconstitutional. It violates rights of Ghanaian citizens.
That's the Programs Officer for Human Rights and Social Exclusion at CDD Ghana, Michael Augustus Akagbo, and Director of Governance, Justice and Peace at the Ghana Bishops Conference, Father Michael Kweku, says the bill must be reconsidered just as the Speaker has called for it.
I think that the key to understanding where we stand on the matter is the intervention of the Speaker of Parliament. Mm-hmm. And I think that the fact that he called the leadership of Parliament to his office to find consensus tells us that consensus was not found, or at least that it was not expressed in how the whole process has ended. And that itself must lend itself to asking questions. In fact, what we have right now, will it get us to where we want to be? I would rather the process where the Speaker of Parliament has convened Parliament and the leadership of Parliament to reconsider what has been done and to arrive at some consensus is actually adhered to. Because
just for clarity, you are in favor of reconsidering the passage.
Yes, I am. I'm because you see, I think that it's not just a matter of procedure. Procedure is important, but also there's a reason why the issue has become this contentious.
That is the Director of Governance, Justice and Peace at the Ghana Catholic Bishops Conference, Father Michael Kweku, there speaking to my colleague Evans Mensah on PM Express. Joseph Osei-Wusu is a former Deputy Speaker of Parliament. He's joining me on the telephone lines right now for a conversation on the back of this. Welcome to the program, Mr. Osei-Wusu. You've been in that Speaker chair before, chairing some of Parliament's proceedings. And as a former Deputy Speaker, do you agree with Speaker Backben's position that he can hold the transmission of the bill due to alleged breaches of the standing orders? Or does Parliament's approval on Friday make that decision final?
Well, my keen interest is in the constitutionality or otherwise of the process leading to what we call passage. The Constitution is clear that unless 50% or more of all members are in the chamber, you cannot take a decision. I've read and I've heard allegation that at the time the decision was purported to have been made, the number of members of Parliament in the chambers were less than half. If it is so, then it is no decision at all. That, for me, is the only critical question.
Okay, so the number of MPs who were on the floor were less than 50, as you've mentioned, but the number of MPs who registered their name on that day were over 100. Doesn't that count?
Well, over 100 present, but at the time of taking a decision, 50% or more must be in the chamber. If you just registered and left the chamber, you're not part of the decision-taking process, and therefore you cannot be counted. If you recall, during my four-term membership of Parliament, this situation occurred twice. One under Right Honorable Durajaho. On that day, he was not presiding himself. Honorable Batino first Deputy Speaker, was presiding. And it was a decision about the Bank of Ghana's right to support government. At the time we're taking the vote, the minority members were more than the majority members. So the noes were declared to have won. But then when the numbers present were counted, we discovered that they were less than 50%. And so it declared the vote a nullity. The following day, Radon Duajaho came and actually made a full statement explaining the constitutional position and affirming the decision taken by his first deputy. Then in 2021, during the vote on the budget, the majority members left the chamber. So the number of MPs left in the chamber were 137. They purported to have voted to reject the budget. The following day, that was a Friday, so the following Monday, when the House reconvened, I was presiding. And then we referred to the record and said that the number of people who were in the chamber at the time the decision was taken were less than half, and therefore it cannot be a decision of the House. So we annulled that decision, and then we took the same decision. We took the decision again. That was what led to Justice Abudulai going to the Supreme Court to seek an interpretation whether the presiding member, the first deputy speaker, could be counted as part of the quorum.
Your former colleague, the majority leader, Mahama Ayariga, argues that the speaker cannot overturn a decision already taken by the House. From your understanding of parliamentary procedure, who is on the firmer constitutional ground in this dispute, you say?
As I'm saying, it is the number in the chamber at the time of taking the decision that would determine. If indeed there were less than half, then it's not even a matter of the speaker declaring. It is unconstitutional, and the speaker will be in his rightful position to declare the alleged decision taking or purported decision taking unconstitutional.
Right. If indeed all these things happened, what remedies are available under the standing orders, and can those remedies be applied after the bill has already been passed?
If the decision was unconstitutional, it means that you can apply for reconsideration. There's something we call second consideration. So a motion will be moved asking that specific clauses be taken through a second consideration. Ordinarily, when we finish consideration, we go to third reading. But if there are issues which a member considers that worth reconsidering, then the member may bring application and specify those specific clauses, and then we can reconsider those clauses if the House agrees. So in this case, if the decision was taken, which was taken was unconstitutional, then we have not passed it. We can then go back and apply for the bill to be taken to a second consideration.
Well, Speaker Backbin has cited breaches of standing orders relating to amendments made during the bill's consideration. I want to find out from you, in your view, are these procedural concerns substantial enough to warrant a fresh third reading as he's calling for?
Frankly, I've not heard which specific standing orders have been breached. But as I insist, it is only the constitutional breach which, in my view, can lead to the matter being reopened.
Mr. Oseusu, don't go yet. I have been joined also by Sami Obeng. He's the Executive Director of Parliamentary Network Africa. Welcome to the program, Sami. How serious is this constitutional disagreement between the Speaker and the Majority Caucus? And what does it say about the parliamentary governance in our country at the moment?
Well, it is serious. Many of the issues that have gone on with last Friday's third reading and passage of the bill are not new to how the Parliament of Ghana works. I mean, on many of the occasions when Parliament of Ghana is considering a bill, the numbers that are seated in the chamber are usually low. There are many occasions the numbers that move the motion and second and take the votes for the motion for the adoption of the bill are low. We've always had instances when members of parliament stand down sections of their standing orders just to be able to have abridgment of time, etc., etc. These things happen with many of the laws that have been passed by the Parliament of Ghana. However, for a piece of draft legislation that has always had controversy hanging around it, with potential legal cases following its passage, I do not think that the Parliament of Ghana should throw care and caution to the wind by not endeavoring to check all the boxes correctly. And I think that was the major error that was committed last Friday. And so it's a serious situation that we find ourselves here. It's a serious situation that over the last 5 or so days, this is what the country has been discussing. It goes to show the extent to which this issue can bring to a nullity all the work that Parliament has done on this particular bill or otherwise. And that is why I think that sense of reasoning must prevail. I think that Parliament must show leadership by throwing maybe ego or whatever it is, to the wind and coming back to the table to say we did not follow through as much as we should have followed through. We probably have to come back to the table. There are remedial measures available to us. The revered former Deputy Speaker has spoken about some of those. Parliament has the opportunity to rescind the decision that he has earlier taken to take a bill through a second consideration stage, etc., etc. And so Parliament must be seen to be doing the needful.
Beyond the back and forth between the President, the Speaker, the Majority, do you see any political implications of this standoff for Parliament, the government, and even the public's confidence in our legislative process?
There are many political implications to this. Remember that this is a bill that has caught the attention of the Ghanaian people, depending on whether people are in support of it or against it. It's a major national conversation. This is a bill that has potential to make people, win parliamentary seats or lose them. We've heard in the past how by-elections, in the past had been determined in part by campaigning messages that were hovering around this particular bill, etc., etc. And so when you are handling a matter of such sensitivity and you as Parliament have gone through the processes beautifully over the last couple of weeks, called for memoranda, Parliament have spent money to organize public fora, you have heard from the public, you've taken the bill through the committee, considering it, presenting its reports, going through the second reading stage and the consideration stage. And especially when you are not hampered by time, I do not see why Parliament should be jumping steps merely because one side of the aisle thinks that the other side of the aisle is pointing fingers at us as the ones not being willing to pass it, and the other also thinks that you are not willing to build consensus. We must rise beyond partisan politics when it comes to some of these matters if we need to safeguard the integrity of an important arm of government. the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana.
Mr. Obindongoye, let me bring back the former Deputy Speaker. If this matter were challenged in court, you are a lawyer, how do you think the judiciary should or would approach a dispute that essentially concerns Parliament's internal procedures and privileges? Because there are concerns that this could potentially be challenged in court, just like the previous bill in the previous Parliament was.
Well, looking at the history of the Supreme Court regarding proceedings in Parliament, they are always interested in whether the act or action or failure complained about relates to a breach of the Constitution. From all the issues that have followed so far, when it comes to a breach of the Constitution, then the Supreme Court comes in and brings you back to what a particular constitutional clause requires you to do. So if there's any litigation in respect of this matter, it is likely to be around the constitutionality or otherwise of the decision. And that's why I insist that beyond that, the rest is internal management and the rules and regulations of Parliament. The standing orders has various means by which you can use to regulate the decisions and the action.
With your years, several years of experience in Parliament, what do you think is the way forward to resolve this impasse?
As I've already suggested, indeed, if it is truly necessary, the real issue is the constitutionality or otherwise. If the numbers at the time of taking the decision were less than half, there's nothing more to do but to say that you ought not to have put the question because you didn't have the quorum for taking a decision. For that matter, that decision taken is unconstitutional and it can be, the question will be put again. But then, as soon as that decision is taken, then you can file a motion asking for the specific clauses in issue to be taken through the second consideration.
Joseph Oseusu, thank you very much for your time this evening. He's the former Deputy Speaker of Parliament. Sami Obeng is still on the line with me. He's the Executive Director of the Parliamentary Network Africa. Sami, this bill, its passage and the subsequent impasse has divided opinions across the country. How do you think Parliament should approach this going forward?
I did not hear the question.
I'm saying that this bill has divided opinion since its passage on Friday, and its subsequent impasse continues to divide opinions. How do you think Parliament should approach this going forward?
I personally agreed with the solution proffered by the Right Honourable Speaker. I think that the House must consider his appeal to move a motion to rescind the decision for the third reading of the bill that happened Friday. Consider the angles that have come in, which they have the opportunity to do through the route of second reading, a second consideration of the bill, and ensure that all the rules that govern how parliamentary proceedings must go on such matters, how a bill becomes a law and what their rules say about it, and how it holds fidelity to the Constitution, gets followed to the latter, so that they can pass a bill that at least they as Parliament would have known that they have done all the things that they need to do properly, and leave the rest to the other.
Hello, Sami, do I have you? Hello, Sami, do I have you?
Yes, I'm here with you.
I lost you on your last word.
I'm saying that so that Parliament should be able to do all that it can do, making sure that it checks all the boxes rightly, perform its parts properly, and then it can leave it to, the executive branch, and of course the judiciary should it come up, at the level of the judiciary. But I agree with Mr. Speaker's, position that at this point, and with all the conversations going on the matter, it is proper that the decision from Friday last week is rescinded, and Parliament uses its rules to take these bills through the processes that make sure that Parliament has checked all the boxes and checked them rightly.
Sami Obin, thank you very much. Is the executive director of the Parliamentary Network Africa. And earlier we heard from Joseph Osei Owusu, is a former deputy speaker of Parliament. This has been Top Story. Newsnight is next.
There are many reasons to connect, and it's all to put smiles on the faces of those you love.
Daddy, thanks for the tea cash, okay? I love you.
That's my daughter, Angela. Caring for my parents, that's my duty. I also get to pay my utility bills easily with Telecel Cash. And to the suppliers at my shop,
hello, sir. Telecel Cash payment received right on time. Thank you.
I get to make them smile because I can pay to my suppliers' merchant numbers, even on other networks directly. My dear ones, we keep the connection stronger when our family, friends, and business relations are happy. Live on cash, enjoy convenience, and make those who matter smile when you send them money with Telecel Cash.
Telecel, connecting energies.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining my ears, bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, me down my dark with holy insecticide spray.
Holy mosquito coil, holy multi-purpose insecticide spray. Ghana Kron Kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302 681582. This advert is FDA approved.
I'm going on leave.
Hey, Abna, every year when you take your leave, you travel. Last 2 years, Dubai. Last year, Singapore. Hey, so this year, where are you going to?
This year, I'm going to change on channel.
But how are you able to do this, Abna? Because the last time I tried, I got scammed.
Oh, I booked my travels with Waka Now. They have well-curated holiday packages for your holiday plans. This includes your visa, hotel, travel insurance, tours and flights, and everything.
That is nice. But how can I reach them?
Call 024-243-551. Follow at Waka Now Ghana. Visit wakanow.com.gh. Download our app or walk into our travel centers in Accra, Kumasi, Takrade, and Tamale. Waka Now. Let's go.
Jumia is 14 years.
14 years with you. You're every day delivered.
Aiko Jumia. Now, Bosu, forget the Kankwe lifestyle. Start shopping on Jumia. Enjoy great discounts up to 70% off this Jumia anniversary celebration from 1st to 21st June. Don't miss out on explosion days, treasure hunt, and daily flash sales. Download the Jumia app now. Jumia, we've been doing it for 14 years. Just Jumia it.
Mom, please can I have some milk in my Milo?
Have you tasted it?
No, but I didn't see you add milk.
Hey, taste it before you ask me any question.
Hey, milk na chum say.
This is Milo all in one. Milo Pampa, cocoa, malt, milk and show, everything is inside.
Milo All-in-One already comes with more milk. Just mix with water and taste the nourishing goodness of quality cocoa, malt, and more milk all in one sachet. Milo, the energy to go further.
This advert is FDA approved.
Good evening and welcome to Newsnight. Tonight, dawn raid at Tema Community 25 by a private developer backed by maxed police evicts several families from their properties in an enforcement of a court judgment. Details as about 15 homes have now been marked for demolition.
So compensation we have from this August meeting or this June 3rd here was what we get from Benin President.
Well, tonight, 11 years after the June 3rd disaster killed over 150 people, many of the life-saving recommendations to stop another disaster are still gathering dust as authorities struggle to enforce measures, including a crackdown on plastic waste.
The equipment are there, but they are not enough.
The ban of a material is very difficult to implement because these materials serve a purpose.
We hear from survivors and One Ghana movement that are calling on President John Mahama to take action. Coming up in business,
President John Mahama insists IMF program reforms dealt with those structural challenges facing the economy as he rules out another fund program.
In sports,
former Black Stars player David Akam hails Black Stars showing in friendly draw with Wales.
And later, NADMO cracks down on structures built in waterways and drainage reservations as residents living in Kacho, Atomic and Agbogba question why authorities allowed the developments in the first place. More as the homeowners and city authorities trade blame over who bears responsibility for the growing flood risk in parts of the Ga East municipality.
Give me any notice that they are coming for demolition. I'm just inside and I hear that they were doing the demolition over here. That's why I just come out to comment.
Plus, we have the warning from the Assembly that more buildings obstructing drainage channels will be demolished in the coming days. And also coming up tonight, Speaker of Parliament suspends sitting of Parliament for 3 days to use the chamber to host Anti-LGBTQ conference. We have details. The latest of these and many other stories are coming up shortly. My name is Kenneth. Gyasi.
My name is Gemma. Appiah.
Join us by sending us a WhatsApp on 055 11 11 997. Details shortly.
Tonight, 11 years after the June 3 disaster that killed over 150 people, many of the life-saving recommendations meant to stop another disaster are still gathering dust. A 5-member committee set up after the tragedy recommended major reforms, including improved drainage systems, stricter controls on plastic waste, better equipped fire and rescue services, and a permanent disaster relief fund for the victims. 11 years on, many of those recommendations remain only partially implemented. Survivors say they are frustrated that despite pursuing justice through the courts, accountability and compensation remain elusive. We'll hear from them shortly, but first, here's a recall of the events that unfolded on June 3, 2015 in this report by Ramat Bashiru.
I feel so miserable, so pity. Even can't control myself, but still.
It's been 11 years since the twin disaster that brought Ghana to a standstill. Flood and fire. More than 150 people were killed, with many others injured. But beyond the pain and destruction, that night also revealed something powerful. Strangers became rescuers, and ordinary people risked their lives to save others. Ghana stood together on that tragic night. Yet, 11 years on, one question still remains. Have we truly learned the lessons?
Iron gates down there. The whole building was shaking. I thought it was collapsed.
We heard the military crying, where are you? Where are you people? And we said, we are here. So they came up and they told us that, you see, this time is between life and death.
It happened on Wednesday, June 3, 2015. After hours of heavy rainfall, several parts of Accra were submerged. The Kwame Nkrumah Circle area was one of the worst affected. Many people had taken shelter at the Goyle filling station, hoping to escape the rain. But unknown to them, fuel leaking from an underground tank had mixed with the flood waters. Then came a spark. The filling station exploded. Panic, screams, and devastation followed.
Immediately, I jumped inside the water to save them. There was a fire explode. So my whole show, people, television that I replay, water carries some.
Investigations later showed that the incident was preventable. Poor drainage system, buildings on waterways, weak enforcement of regulations, and poor urban planning all contributed to the scale of the disaster.
and building in waterways has resulted in impeding the flow of these rivers and streams into the sea, and thereby caused unprecedented flooding in several parts of the capital city.
After the June 3 disaster, government commissioned a 197-page report detailing the causes of the tragedy, the risk facing Accra, and recommendations to prevent another disaster. But many of the core problems remain unresolved. So what must change?
Tell me who has been punished. Work as usual. Somebody's construction, and then another person's fuel station, when he refused to adhere to the protocols, led to fire.
11 years on, too little has changed. We remember the victims, we honor the heroes. But remembrance must lead to reform. Otherwise, Ghana may only be waiting for the next disaster. Ramat Bashiru for Joy News, Accra.
After that incident, a 5-member committee was set up to look into the disaster and come up with reforms. That was done, and the report was given to the president at the time, John Mahama. Now, my colleague Ramat Bashir joins me in studio with details of the recommendations. Ramat, what were the recommendations?
First, there were calls for regular dredging of the Odo River and the Kole Lagoon to improve water flow and reduce flooding in Accra. Also, authorities were urged to redesign Accra's drainage system by replacing many of the open gutters with larger underground drains. Another key recommendation were strict enforcement against indiscriminate waste disposal, including limiting plastic bag use and also sanctioning people who dump refuse into drains. On the issue of the fuel station, experts, they recommended that a mandatory safety measure such as automatic shut-off valves and leak detection system, as well as stopping the approval of fuel stations in flood-prone and densely populated areas. The report also emphasized strengthening emergency response by providing the Ghana National Fire Service and NADMO with specialized rescue equipment. Also, there were also calls for the creation of a permanent national disaster relief fund to support victims and their families. Last, there were stronger calls for public education on flood risks, disaster preparedness, and also safety measures to help prevent a similar incident from happening in the future.
You had Ramat Bashir with the recommendations by the 5-member committee set up to look into the June 3 disaster. One of the recommendations was on the ban of plastic bags. The Environmental Protection Authority says it is difficult to implement that recommendation. Joy Hesse Ankoma is the Deputy Director of Human Settlement Unit at the EPA.
The ban of a material is very difficult to implement because these materials serve a purpose, and therefore a lot of work has to be done before the pronouncement has to be made. That's how come this plan, as you said, has been long overdue. The plan was there. A lot of education has to start. A lot of strategies has to be put in place. This is a global fight and not just a Ghanaian fight. The strategies has now been put in place. The whole strategy was put in place, but we needed the policy backing, basically from government. And as you know, since 11 years ago, there have been change in governments. Everybody comes, we have to relook at it until last year when the president gave us the green light to start with that of the styrofoams.
Well, the Ghana National Fire Service was also expected to be equipped after the disaster to make them ready to rescue anybody in record time. Assistant Chief Fire Officer Rashid Nisawu with the Greater Accra Regional Fire Command says they need more equipment.
So at the moment, the equipment that we need we call them featherweight pumps. As we speak, we have featherweight pumps, even though we need more of them because if a tender is there, it will need about 2 or 3 featherweight pumps. So if we have 1 or 2, we need more because if the report on flood in 2 or 3 or 5 homes, you will need featherweight pumps in all those homes to be able to deploy to do the priming simultaneously. So I can say that the equipments are there, but they are not enough. And that is the more reason why anytime I get the opportunity to come here and talk, I say that government is playing its part. I also want to appeal to the private sector to come to the aid of the service by providing this kind of featherweight pumps, these lines and other equipments that can aid in floods and other things, because they should see us as partners in development.
Now, some of the survivors say they are yet to receive any compensation from any institution months after the disaster.
That my sister, they have nothing. So compensation, compensation we have from this August meeting or this June 3rd here was what we get from Benin President. We send money for us here, and that money, before we collect that money for the government, and it was very, very difficult.
Yeah, how no kasa say yeah per compensation. Yeah, mpatasika no kwanti ya di asem na kokot. Asem kokot is here.
Oni ti yes rempenfo. Titru ekoma papa Mahama, yen papa, yen eja. Omehu ye mobo. Ontwe ni mahwe yen. Na ye diamia. Ye diamia papa fi miri asem si ebesi na dai. Ye ha mu papa.
So you heard some of the survivors. They say they are yet to receive any compensation years after the June 3 disaster.
Let's speak to Gilbert Ankra. He's the public relations officer at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. Mr. Ankra, welcome to the program. How many of those recommendations has the AMA been able to implement 11 years later?
Good evening, my brother, and on behalf of the Mayor, Honorable Michael Pasco, and the one of the to your cherished listeners. As a city, if you look at the recommendations, we are responsible for ensuring that our drains are cleared, desilted regularly to make way for the water when they come. Also ensure that issues of poor waste management practices are curtailed, and a couple of campaigns to help people change their attitude, especially when it comes to, and if you look at these things I've mentioned, as a city, it is something that we've been doing continuously since the fire outbreak happened. Gone are the days where we don't even have that desilting plan, what to do at what time. Currently, as I speak to you now, the Assembly has a well strategic desilting plan to ensure that all the drains that we have are desilted to make way for the water. Earlier on, there are people who make mention of such bigger storm drains like the Odo and then the Koli. As a city, in as much as it doesn't fall within our purview, we are aware that the ministry is working on it. If you come to the Koli side, which is more within our zone, we've been seeing a lot more of the desilting works going on. The mayor has inspected some of these works. Now, looking at also the re-engineering of the drains, in as much as that also doesn't necessarily fall under the AMA, under the garage project, we know that government is also putting in a lot of measures to get these drains re-engineered, widened enough, and we can make mention of the garage project around the Kanishin area. There is going to be some other works, and we are hopeful that when that work is done, it will go a long way to help deal with the issues. Basically, but aside that, as a city, as residents, we also have a responsibility to play, and we cannot talk about these issues of flooding or this disaster without hinting our responsibility. If I have any refuge, I don't have to dump them indiscriminately or into the drains, and we together we must all play our role so that we'll be able to help deal with some of these issues. The Assembly, we've been enforcing the laws, and let me use this opportunity to also state, recently we saw some ladies and some offenders dumping refuse into the drain. There were videos out there and all that, and none of these videos specify the locations where they were taken. And we want to use this medium to let people know once again that the mayor, Honorable Michael Papo Alote, has placed a 500 cedis reward for anybody who reports any sanitation related offense. If you see anybody dumping anything, just let us know, and we'll move in to ensure that we prosecute those offenders.
Right. That was actually going to be my next question, because one of the recommendations was that the Metropolitan Assembly should penalize the loitering of waste products in drains. Now you say that you've started that by rewarding sums of monies to persons who report people who dump items in drains. How has that been? How successful or otherwise has it been? The reward for persons to report people who dump things indiscriminately in the city, how successful or otherwise has it been? And really, is that the only measure you are putting in place to ensure that people do not loiter?
No, of course not. You know, that is just the reward system. And since the mayor made those pronouncements, we've not had anybody coming forward to present some of these evidence. But the mayor, Honorable Michael Papo Alote, taking office a year ago, recognized the need to ensure that some of these enforcement are intensified. So quickly, you know, the Assembly, we didn't have our own sanitation court, but the mayor came in to ensure that what was being done, he came to complete it, commission the sanitation court, and as I speak to you, the sanitation court is operational. Since its inception last year to date, we've done over 100 prosecutions. For the month of, I think, April alone, we did about 46 prosecutions. And it cuts across to the extent of people even doing what we call open defecation and all that. So enforcement is something that has been key in whatever we are doing as a city to help in deterring. But the reward system is to encourage people.
Ms. Danko, you've mentioned a number of measures you have put in place to ensure that Accra doesn't flood and we don't experience June 3 ever again. But yet, anytime it rains, we see Accra flood. Would you admit that on your part, there's been some level of failure?
Of course not. Currently, if you look at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, our jurisdiction, where the incident happened currently doesn't even fall under the AMA again. If you look at our jurisdiction now, areas such as Achieku, Keteke, Ablekuma South, and Okanfe South, in as much as we appreciate the fact that as a city, we can't run away from the issues of flooding, because one, we fall within the low-lying area. Ours is to ensure that we test the resilience. How quick would the water be able to move? Okay. And within our jurisdiction, a lot more is happening to ensure that we distill our major drains, that we have our roadside drains. For the National Sanitation Day, for instance, the mayor has declared that we visit Agbobulushi every other day to do the tilting there. And so the distilting works, we are ensuring that we do the distilting.
Right, thank you very much, Gilbert Ankra. He speaks for the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. You're still listening to News Now here on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra and across our numerous affiliates. You can also be a part of the show by sending us a WhatsApp on 055 11 11 997. Let's bring you more stories.
Imagine waking up to maxed armed police at your door. Minutes later, you are outside with your family and your belongings, watching your home get marked for demolition. That's what happened at dawn in Savannah Junction near Tema Community 25. A private developer backed by armed police enforced a court judgment and evicted several families. Residents say they bought the land legally, lived there for years, and relied on an earlier court ruling. They claim no prior notice was served before bulldozers moved in. 15 homes are now marked for demolition. Maxwell Agbo Akpakpa was there and reports.
And there, we'll come back for you, okay?
Meet Abba, not her real name. Standing outside her locked gate, she gently pets her dog whilst contemplating her next move. For the past 13 years, this 4-bedroom house has been home to Abba, her husband, and their 4 children and other relatives. Today, they face the prospect of losing it all with the property marked for demolition. A truck and pickup loaded with the family's belongings is parked outside the house. Abba's 9-year-old daughter says she is traumatized after armed police officers, some wearing masks, stormed their home in the morning.
But I just realized my father and my mother were fighting for the house, and I've not really seen somebody holding like a real gun. I've only seen water guns, those playful toys. And I was really, really traumatized. But when my mother came to me, she was like, everything is going to be okay. Okay, deep down right now, I'm very sad leaving my home, going to a new home for some days.
Abba says years of hard work and investment are about to go down the drain. She insists the family conducted due diligence before purchasing the land from what they believed were the rightful owners. But a court ruling has now turned their lives upside down.
We were forced out, I should say, because we were dealing with armed men. And the last thing you would want to do is to hustle with men that are armed. And so they just had to force their way. In fact, there were the same people that went in there, into our bedrooms, everywhere. Yes. To get our things out of the house. I mean, nobody lifted a finger because we didn't know where we are going to. We don't know where we are going to. We don't know where to go from here, what to do. It's a surprise that you wake up and then in just a twinkle of an eye, you are dispossessed. And so looking at even the trauma we're going through, the pressure and everything, we couldn't think straight to even pack our things ourselves. The comfort to purchase the land. And so, yes, we purchased this land legally. And we have been inhabiting this place legally as well until now.
Her distress call on Joy FM Super Morning Show led to a Good Samaritan offering temporary accommodation for her family.
So this is one opportunity I would love to seize to say a big thank you to Joy FM. Because when you came to our rescue this morning to inquire what was happening here, there was a question that the presenter put to me. Where are we going from here? What would we want if somebody is in a position to help? And I remember saying that a place to keep our things and possibly to lodge momentarily until we figure things out.
Maxwell Akpakpa was at the community and joins me on the phone with more. Maxwell, what more can you report from the community?
Well, Gemma, with their homes out of reach, several affected residents are facing the quality of uncertainty.
Maxwell, kindly reposition yourself for me.
Yeah, is you okay now?
Kindly go on.
Yeah, so with their homes now out of reach, many of the affected residents are now facing the reality of uncertainty as it's night is falling. Families who only had a place to call home are now moving from one station to another, searching for anywhere safe to spend the night. Now, some are relying on relatives and friends, while others are simply left with no immediate option for shelter. For many of them, the eviction has not only taken their property, but also, they tell me, also disrupted their sense of ability and security. Now, many of them have no choice but to roam around looking for a place.
Maxwell, let me know whether these families now have an alternative shelter.
Well, unlike Abba, whose voice is just heard, many others do not really have a place to sleep tonight. In fact, those who have been interacting with tell us that they would rely on the of their friends, relatives, and some of them have moved to their various where they can attack their possessions. Because at the time of the eviction, several of the houses had already been forcibly closed with doors locked and their belongings moved or packed outside. So it's not like they have the opportunity to pack their belongings in their own homes. These homes have been locked by the their community this morning, Gemma.
Thank you very much, Maxwell Agbagba there.
Well, the Ghana East Municipal Assembly has begun demolishing structures erected in waterways and drainage reservations in a renewed effort to curb perennial flooding in the municipality. The exercise, which targets parts of Hacho, Atomic and Agboba, comes as authorities intensify flood prevention measures ahead of the peak season of the rains. But the operation has already reignited questions about accountability, with affected residents accusing city authorities of failing to stop the developments at the construction stage, while officials insist unauthorized structures remain a major cause of flooding. Listen to some residents at Atomic Dome Plateau speaking after the recurring flood challenges.
When you see this area, normally there's a big gutter, but because of how to block the block here, that's why they divert the water to the other side. So when you look at recently, when the rainfall, all the places have become flooded.
Give me any notice that they are coming for demolition. I'm just inside and I hear that they were doing the demolition over here. That is, that's why I just come out to comment. There's another one getting close to the gutter. That is what they said they will come and do the demolition for there. So my mind is that place, but I don't know that we are far away. It will affect us. Like you say, where the gutter is and where we are now, and because they didn't give you notice of that, but they told it that the gutter inside there, that place that they will come and do the demolition over there.
My colleague Stephen Mensah spoke with some of the residents and what exactly he witnessed there.
Right, we're still trying to get Stephen to bring us an update on his story, but you're still listening to News 9 here on Joy 99.7 FM. The bulletin is also live on myjoyonline.com and our numerous affiliates across the country. Stephen, take us through the operation. Which communities were affected? Well, what exactly did you witness on the ground?
So what we witnessed was that the demolition exercise moved through some of the key flood-prone communities, including Hacho, Atomic and Agboba, where several structures built directly in waterways and drainage paths were pulled down. And what we identified was that some residents expressed anger over the suddenness of the exercise, and they say that they had invested heavily in the properties they claim were approved at earlier stages. We can listen to some of them.
Sini ndo mwa ndo kono koma wontale no macho mwa protocol ndo mushika lebinte sini boni femu protocol ko be he yo ndo kwa mo kan wa kan gbo na ana meku assembly ni ale e te abogobi eyin no fia no in le date aka efe wona ni mimba bi e ni na je nse ni mimbi la ka show e ka e gba mi san e ka e no fia no ya je beli mi ni police ba my first one na me ba bi e te bi a police station e na mi hale moko aka e ya Eko police station ele ye ke libi fente na mete abogobi e kona ka chon onupa ni ojeme.
Stephen, what did she say?
Well, that was one of the residents whose structure was demolished, and that was a one-story building apartment. And she was telling us that she has all her documents. In fact, she was not given any prior notice prior to the demolition of her structure. And she says that she has left all her equipment and all her belongings in the apartment all through, and all this has been demolished during the exercise.
We've also been hearing from NADMO officials. What are they saying?
Well, NADMO officials have been defending the operation, and they describe it as a necessary intervention to prevent a repeat of some severe flooding incidents that have happened in these areas. And they argue that many of these affected structures were contributing to some blocked drainage channels and increasing flood risk. We can listen to the NADMO operator.
If you hear these days, anytime it rains, flood everywhere. And most of the people, they build on waterways. Therefore,
when I resume office, I begin to give public education in the municipal through my staffs. Every Tuesday, Thursday, we go for public education so that we'll create awareness that nobody should build on a waterway. We are the receiving end of the water from the Appiah Mountains. So any water from Appiah Mountain, if it rains, our area normally flood. Not to talk of Hachu, not to talk of Domi, Aigbe Town, Kwabenya, Taifa. So as for Domi Kwabenya, we are the people that supply water, if I may say, to Odo River.
Let's get to the phone line and speak to Justin Glover. He is the engineer at the Ga East Municipality. Welcome to News 9. The big question is, why did you leave these residents there to build in waterways before moving in to demolish them?
All right. Thank you very much. As I explained this afternoon, the work of metropolitan and municipal assemblies is supposed to be a continuous exercise. The fact is, all structures that were affected were duly notified. I'll take steps to restate what I said this afternoon. One of them, this is the fourth time we are demolishing the same structure on waterway. My brother, is that not enough notice? If for more than a year, you build, the assembly removes it, you build, they remove it, should we have a question such as, why have they not been notified? So I think that explains it. Then number two,
the question I asked was, why did you leave them to build in the waterways before moving in to demolish the buildings?
Okay, so if you talk to your reporter, most of the structures we removed today were at foundation level. If you like, you can watch the videos. Some of them were at footing level. What it tells you is that we are actually being proactive and not leaving them to build for us to go on. Now, the part two of structures that are up, you will notice that some of them have built the structure within the right setup and extended their fence wall onto the road and the drainage that is supposed to serve the community. So if you watch the videos carefully, you will realize that a lot of fence walls were affected. Then we have the third one. I think that is the essence or the complaint you played on your show a while ago. This structure, even if you go there now, have been served several notices. 2 weeks ago, the developer was reported and by my office, and then he was arrested and sent to police station because we removed the gate and warned him that the structure is not supposed to sit on the fence wall on the road. So please, in line with the National Building Regulations, LI 2465, 2022, the Local Governance Act, the Land Use and Spatial Planning Act, the Building Code, the Assembly has all the laws that can check the illegal or what I call uncontrolled development that is going on. If we even enforce 10% of these regulations, Accra will be a clean place and a disciplined place to stay.
Mr. Glover, are you done with the demolitions?
It's not to sit down and allow any of them again.
Mr. Glover, I'm asking whether you are done with the demolition exercise.
On them. Pardon?
Are you done with the demolition exercise?
No, please.
How many structures are you looking forward to demolishing?
So, as it stands now, we are looking at all the channels that have been blocked by fence walls, structures, and we started giving notice from January when I came here. And so my record from the office is that my predecessor served notices. In fact, some of them were demolished twice last year. So if the people come back and I am continuing this year, it is not as if the assembly sat down and then not demolished or not taking action. So subsequently,
how do you ensure that they don't come back after the demolition exercise this time round to construct in the waterways again?
So we have started effective arrests. In fact, some of the people we carried out the demolition exercise today, our recommendation is that they show up in line with the national building regulations. We have to surcharge them the cost of the demolition exercise. And then after that, we will ask our lawyers to take them to court. I'm sure if these things are enforced, they wouldn't have the gas to go back and build on waterways.
How many people have you arrested so far?
We've arrested 2. And the reports are with the police now, you can confirm.
2 people, and you think the 2 people you've arrested will serve as a deterrent for the other residents not to build in waterways?
Yes, please. It is the start of our enforcement regime. So those 2 people, in fact, those 2 people were also affected today. So if you have been arrested and then you were told that you will be sent to court for causing the assembly to come and demolish a structure that you built, unauthorized structure that you built, if that is not deterrent enough, I don't know what other deterrent measure you want us to do.
We are grateful for your time. Justin Glover is the engineer at the Ga East Municipality.
Let's do business. George Riafe is here with the latest.
Well, Kenneth, coming up in business, President John Mahama insists the IMF program reforms dealt with those structural challenges facing the economy as he rules out another fund bailout. And Ghana signs $1.5 billion agreed compact with World Bank to create more than 2 million jobs in the country. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, Synthesis Tanks and Pepsodent, Herbal and Charcoal.
Hello?
Charlie, I'm at the library. Why do you keep calling me?
Wait, question. What's the capital of Burkina Faso?
Ouagadougou. Bye.
Wait. Which planet is the hottest in the solar system?
Venus. Charlie, why all these questions?
See, I'm playing the MTN Swipe and Win promo. I might cash out some cool 1,000 Ghana cedis today.
1,000 cedis? Shh. Charlie, what's the next question?
Join the MTN Swipe and Win promo today. Answer trivia, earn points, and stand a chance to win 1,000 Ghana cedis every day. Weekly cash of 1,000, 2,000, or 3,000 Ghana cedis. A brand new Hyundai Texan in the first 3 months, and the ultimate grand prize of 500,000 Ghana cedis. Recharge your account to qualify for the daily draws. To join, visit swipeandwinpromo.mtn.com.gh. Download the My MTN app or dial *5030#. This promo is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform. TNCs apply.
MTN.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kingdom Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom. And my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first port of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Takweje, Osu near the Osu Cemetery, Tema near Community 4, Takoradi opposite Vijay Mays Plaza, Cape Coast University Bookshop, Spintex Road near Absa Bank, Atomic Center Point Mall, Winneba University Campus, KNUST, the University Bookshop, and Santasi in Kumasi. You can also visit our shop online, www.kingdomstoreonline.com. Hurry while stock lasts. For further inquiries, contact us on 050-162-0810 or 0302-764-101. Email info@kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited, where quality and affordability is assured. Terms and conditions apply.
Cast your mind back to 2022.
The prices were rising. The stress was high. Every liter of fuel felt like a sacrifice. Do you remember who stepped forward first? When others were comfortable with high prices, Star Oil chose you. We cut our own profits so you could keep your AC on, keep your engines running, and keep your life moving without the heavy burden. We gave you room to breathe when things felt tight. Because of you, our star savers, we became number one. Today, the pumps are a battleground. Others are finally cutting prices because they have to. But Star Oil, we do it because we want to. Don't just chase a price, remember a friendship. We were there for you then, and with new innovations coming your way, we are here for you now. Star Oil, still quality and affordable fuels for all.
Shout and sing the song. When the sun they hot, syntax no break. When the rain they fall, still no shake. Builders they choose and plumbers they prove. Any project you they start.
Hello, good afternoon. I am calling from your bank. We are currently experiencing a system downtime, so we need to secure your account. Please, can you confirm your account number and your login details so we can restore access immediately? Yes, your username and password, just to verify.
Beware of fraudsters. Your bank will never ask for your login details, PIN or password over the phone. Shine your eye. Spot the fraud. Stop the fraud. This message is brought to you by the Ghana Association of Banks.
If you spot the fraud, you go fit to stop the fraud. Make you know they lose God.
Saswabo. Sasso, sasso, tonton preco. Sasso, sasso, mi se come tonton preco. Edrana drami ne buseshe. Ye hakasia ne malaria. Minya me pone me sasso spray. Every mosquito study run away. Come on tonton preco. Sasso, sasso, mi se come tonton preco. Come on tonton preco. Sasso, kum tonton preko. Nani shamne die edemo stronko.
This advert is FDA approved.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, President John Mahama is insisting that recent reforms carried out under the IMF program did deal with these inherent structural challenges facing the economy. The assurance is coming at a time that some persons have warned that Ghana could return to the IMF because the recent initiative did not deal with these inherent structural challenges. But speaking at the Africa Debate Program in London, the President said that they are committed to fiscal discipline, sustaining recent gains, and improving the business environment.
We're repositioning Ghana as a productive economy built on industrialization, agro-processing, exports, logistics, digital transformation, and value addition. Through our 24-hour economy initiative and accelerated export development program, we're creating a new growth model designed to expand production, increase exports, create jobs, and improve competitiveness. This initiative is not just about extending working hours. It is about reorganizing the Ghanaian economy to maximize productivity across manufacturing, logistics, transportation, agriculture, pharmaceuticals, digital services, tourism, and the creative economy. The message I bring to investors today is simple. Ghana is open for business. But beyond that, Ghana is ready for strategic partnerships that are anchored in long-term value creation. Our government is undertaking major reforms to improve the ease of doing.
President John Mahama speaking at the Africa Debate Program in London today. Now, Ghana has initiated a $1.5 billion agri compact with the World Bank and other development partners to help develop the sector. The deal will help create more than 2 million jobs over the next 5 years and attract critical investment into the sector. Agri Minister Eric Opoku has been given more details about this compact at the program in Accra.
We are committing $1.5 billion into the project. And if you invest $1.5 billion in agriculture in Ghana, you are likely to get more than 2.6 million, jobs. But we are being modest. We are targeting 2.6 million. But we know that because of the huge investment, the jobs that will be created, direct and indirect, should be more than 2.6 million.
And that is the Greek Minister Eric Opoku. Now, rising food prices did push inflation for the month of May to new levels for this year. The Ghana Statistical Service put the figure at 3.7%. The development has given some credence to earlier projections that inflation could be rising in the coming months. It may even hit 10% by the end of this year. But speaking after the release of the numbers today, Government Statistician Dr. Lassen Idrisu says that the development shows that government might have to do more in the area of fiscal discipline.
For governments, there will be the need to maintain fiscal discipline that has helped bring inflation down so far. It is working, and steadiness now protects the gain. It would also be important to invest in our food systems, particularly storage, irrigation, and transport, so that good harvest rich markets without spoiling or becoming. Also, we should deliberately address inequalities in market access so that families in places like Northeast are not left paying for more than the national average. For businesses, it will be useful to improve efficiency.
That is Government Statistician Dr. Alhassan Idrisu. Not Chief Executive of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, Kenneth, is urging policy certainty to help attract mining investment into Ghana and West Africa. Speaking at the opening of WAMPEX 2026 in Accra, he said that investors are looking for a stable and investment-friendly mining environment before committing capital. The Chamber of Mines boss also welcomed assurances from government that these matters will be handled in accordance with the country's laws.
Regarding recent discussions on mining leases, the Honourable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources has assured stakeholders that mining lease matters will be addressed on a case-by-case basis in accordance with the laws of Ghana. He has also clarified that nationalization of mines is not government policy. These assurances reinforces Ghana's commitment to maintaining a stable, predictable, and investment-friendly environment.
Chief Executive of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, Engineer Kenneth Ashigbe. Now, banking professionals across Ghana are set to converge in Accra for a transformative learning experience. The Deloitte Ghana hosts the second edition of its flagship banking bootcamp. The highly anticipated program will offer participants a unique blend of technical learning and industry insights. Here's partner in charge of assurance services at Deloitte, Dr. Kobna Situ.
2026, we are seeing a lot of changes within that industry. Number one, regulatory-wise, we are seeing the liquidity risk directive being issued by Bank of Ghana, stress testing. We also have the IGAP also coming through. And these are things that the banks are expected to implement. Also, to talk about ESG, the Institute of Chartered Accountants have also issued an ESG directive in respect of IFRS S1 and S2, which is applicable next year. So that is also on the horizon.
Partner in charge of assurance services at accounting and financial services firm Deloitte, Dr. Kobna Situ. Now, Cosmos Innovation Center, KIC, has started its massive improvement in Ghana's agricultural sector since the inception of the KIC agribusiness program 10 years ago. According to the KIC program, the sector has welcomed more youthful hands as well as modern technology in the last decade. Speaking at the launch of its 10-year anniversary of the initiative under the theme, A Decade of Youth Innovation, Impact and Agricultural Transformation, Executive Director of the program, Benjamin Jankesi, says the company is aiming at partnering more institutions to deliver strong growth in the sector. And that's all for business on Newsnight. The Fiamepo, it's here with sports.
1 week since, it's almost a week since you guys lost the Champions League.
Oh, don't worry. We keep getting better. See the trend. We'll come back again. Don't worry. Yeah.
Say Ganes.
Oh, don't worry.
In the camp of Madrid, they are busy signing defenders.
Oh, don't worry.
Kenneth.
The special one is back.
Dumfries and Konate, and who are you going to sign next?
The special one is back.
Let's
see whether he still has
you know what's funny? Konate free.
Of course.
I guys sure you're not broke.
We're not.
Yeah,
this is
no,
Madrid.
so
We don't buy players 100 million and 200 million like Chelsea spends money around.
You bought Hazard for how much?
He's a periphery within the core. Go on.
All right. So former Black Stars forward David Akam has hailed the team for their 1-1 draw against Wales as part of preparations towards the World Cup. Now, speaking to Joy Sports, Akam acknowledged the concerns surrounding the team, but maintained that the current group represents Ghana's best available option and have what it takes to do well at the World Cup in Canada, USA, and Mexico.
I think the second half was much better performance compared to the first half, and most of the boys came to the game and they brought their A game, and it gives the coach head because we saw what he was trying to. He was trying to try other players to see what they can offer to the team. So it looks like some of the fringe players show that they are ready to start. So it's
think the changes made the desired impact.
Yeah, it had positive effects on the team, and it's a good headache for a coach to have. So I think at the moment he have a fair idea what he have in camp. So we'll see where we go from here.
All right, so that's former Black Star forward David Akam having faith in the team ahead of the World Cup, despite Kenneth's, what should I say? Kenneth's continue for me.
You see, you don't know what to say. I believe in the Black Stars. They're gonna win the cup, okay?
Not wanting to believe in the team.
They're gonna win the cup.
Believe in the team like Gemma.
Looking at what they did yesterday, I'm convinced they'll win the cup first. They've convinced me. He's doing an amazing job.
Yeah. So Gemma has successfully
convinced you. Exactly.
You join the bandwagon now. Yeah. All right. Sure.
Well, tonight, Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin has courted controversy after suspending sittings of Parliament for 3 days to use the Chamber of Parliament for an anti-LGBTQ conference. Leaders of African parliaments have converged in Ghana over what they say is the external influence over family values among Africans. The conference is coming at a time a wave of hardline anti-LGBTQ legislations, with the Parliament of Ghana passing its own just last Friday. The conference is now being hosted in the debating chamber of Parliament until the end of the week. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante reports.
For the past several meetings and sittings of Parliament, members of Parliament have been complaining about a backlog of questions that they've asked sector ministers, but which have remained unanswered. On the other paper, there are a number of key government and private business that have still not been done. The Parliament of Ghana has been suspended for 3 days for a conference on human family values and African values to be held in the Chamber of Parliament. Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin, making this decision, perhaps with the leadership of the House, have invited a number of leaders of African parliaments across the continent who are all here in Parliament for the next 3 days on a conference that is talking about family values of Africa. There are so many people who have described these conferences as an anti-LGBTQ conference because, as we know, over the past few years, there have been a number of countries on the African continent, from Uganda up until Ghana, who are enacting a very tough and hardline anti-LGBTQ legislation.
That's our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante there with that report, and that's it for Newsnight though. But before we go, a few of the messages you've been sending to our WhatsApp platform. Lincoln in Akwetiman says serious countries generate significant revenue from wrongdoing by imposing fines and penalties on offenders on a daily basis. Sam Bannerman in the USA says our parliamentarians are not working for the Ghanaian people who elected them to Parliament. They are working for themselves. This one says, in fact, Alban Bagbin must stop what appears to be an attempt to help the MPP mock the government in power. This also without a name says, please, we have been without light for some time at Boom. Asogli. Musa Abatwa in Kumasi says, 11 years after the June 3rd disaster, we still have not learned our lessons. Those are some of the messages you sent to our WhatsApp platform. Thank you very much for being a part of the show tonight. My name is Kenneth. Gyasi.
My name is Gemma Appiah.
Don't forget to do the 2 this evening. Brush your teeth day and night with Pepsodent. And right after News Night, a strong and sassy and Akofa is already here. Looking strong
Kenneth,
and sassy.
AKA,
hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Don't worry, your reputation is intact. It's intact.
Of course, my reputation is unblemished. It will continue to be intact, Akofa.
So yeah, right after News Night, we're having a conversation, or we're finding out from, our listeners out there. At the beginning of the year, they made plans. You put together a whole idea of what you're hoping the year will look like for you, and so we're doing a retrospection basically for the 5 months that we have already wrapped up. How are things looking like so far? So join in right after here. Don't go anywhere.
It should be interesting.